Hi, I'm Angela, and I'm a big Scarlands fan.
Hello, I am Zachary Naldra, he, him, freelance and community content, TTRPG writer.
My name is Ivan Abilio. I am a community content producer here for StoryPath, mostly working on Brazilian mythology and Roman mythology.
And I'm your Design Dash host, Brooke Whitney. Design Dash is a TTRPG game show where we give 3 creators a surprise prompt and only 15 minutes to write an amazing adventure from it. But this time, there's a little twist. Before I get into that, let me tell you about StoryPath Nexus, the community content program from Onyx Path Publishing that we're featuring in this episode. If you have ever wanted to write for an amazing game like Scion, Trinity Continuum, Dystopia Rising, or the They Came From series, then this is the episode for you. More information in the description below. So, what is the twist, you may ask? Well, this time we decided to record the designers while they were designing, so you can get the real-time behind-the-scenes sneak peek into how writers in the industry go from an idea to a final product. Well, final product may be a little generous with only 15 minutes, but you'll see what I mean. And at the end of it all, I'll be the judge of who wins. So stay tuned.
So what really got me into StoryPath Nexus was the They Came From series, particularly They Came From Beyond the Grave and They Came From Camp Murder Lake. Horror is really what got me into role-playing, and that's what got me into writing. So that fell into my wheelhouse of things that I was looking to do.
My first project was Treasures and Gifts a long time ago, I think a few years ago, 2019, I guess. I first done it because I have been playing a game of Scion with some friends for a long while. We're still playing the same game. I visited the StoryPath Nexus website, saw the products there and everything, and I was like, hey, I'm creating a lot of birthright, a lot of stuff here for Scion, and hey, I can try to put it there, maybe get some visibility and make some cash. Why not? And then that's how it started. And then I did the first one. It was still not great. But then you start getting more products, you start working more, and then you see you're there.
When I was a kid, I really loved pirate stories, and I wanted to recapture that sense of adventure and wonder in that supplement with other writers. It started quite a while ago. At that time, it wasn't community content. It was just homebrew material, and I put them on a website. And when the Slash and Vault came around, I thought, okay, let's took these old materials that are written, and let's try to see if there is something good that I could publish. So I really started by converting my old stuff to Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. And while I was doing that, I was thinking, oh, but this one, maybe we could add some stuff in there. Maybe we could explore other parts of the world. And so this really gets me down a rabbit hole of writing stuff. I knew how to write. I mean, it's not that I knew how to write, but that came natural to me. But then making a nice product, a nice supplement that looks good to the eye, it took me a while to figure it out. I'm still not sure that I'm doing a good job at it, to be honest. But really what helped me is that I tried to create a process that would work for me. And now that I have this process in place, it's easier for me to go from the written draft to the finished product that is on track.
So Halloween was my first horror movie when I was 12 years old. And before that, as a kid, I would get scared at commercials for Nightmare on Elm Street. I had a terrifying fear at 5 years old of things under my bed from seeing clips of the Gate, Critters, and Poltergeist in a series of like 3 weeks. It's that slasher, Halloween, Michael Myers is what brought me into it. There's so much out there to work with in horror, and so much out there that you can easily take what is not considered a horror genre and turn it into it. If you look at Terminator a certain way, that is no longer a sci-fi movie. That is a horror movie.
What I'm looking for in a StoryPath Nexus, I want something that excites me and that makes me say, okay, I'm going to use that tonight in my game. So even if it's just an encounter or a monster or something visually attractive or interesting that sparks my imagination, yes, I want to go for it. The product itself doesn't need to be well designed, well put with a nice picture and so forth. It's really what's inside that matters for me.
A great StoryPath Nexus product, I'm speaking most of the side of Scion, that's the side I'm most consumed from, is to be able to take the incredible, the fantastical, the supernatural, and putting in together with the very mundane, to create this connection between the current culture, the current situation, the current everything, and this worldly, supernatural, and amazing things. From seeing how the gods may live in regular cities, or how supernatural creatures are going to walk on the cities, to see how a regular guy would do with superpowers.
There's a flexibility to it because it covers multiple game lines, as opposed to if you're writing D&D, it's one game line if you in one setting. Where with StoryPath, you can go into the horror where they came from series. You can go into action adventure through the Trinity Continuum. If you want to do zombie apocalypse, there's Dystopia Rising Evolution, which is the one that I have yet to write for. If you want to do urban fantasy and tell the story of gods or other fantasy creatures, you can do that with Scion. There's a wide variety to choose from, and it gives a lot to work with.
Yes, I have a strategy.
I have absolutely no strategy.
I didn't have a strategy to create the product so far.
Because first, I haven't written anything in months, so I'm a little bit rusty. Second, I haven't written a lot for StoryPath Nexus, so I'm not going to throw myself down a very big supplement that I'm not going to be able to finish, and something that is going to be too big for me to bite. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a monster, and hopefully that story hook will fit into whatever prompt you're going to give me.
As a player, I like to find ways to make a shape-shifting character. And as a person, I like something involving zombies. And if I can find a way to get those two in the same scenario, I'll do that.
I'm just gonna hear the prompt and let my imagination get from there. This usually works as a good beginning. There's a non-zero chance that whatever prompt you give me is gonna be my next project for the next 6 months.
Okay. Mystery at the Masquerade. So I'm going first to try to copy paste my monster stat block so that I'm ready to start. And right now I need to think of a monster. So a monster that works well for a mystery at a masquerade. And probably something who has some kind of secret identity or way to. And let's go for monsters that takes people's face and then sticks them on their own face. Yeah, that's kind of gruesome, but that's is going to be a monster for They Came From Beneath the Grave. Yeah, let's have a story hook because I think that's going to be really what ties us with the masquerade.
I swear, as someone who gets paid to write, I should be able to type. Masquerade Party, we'll do this as a funny thing, so we'll do this as they came from beyond the grave. We can do multiple time periods if we need to. Story hook: characters are invited to a masquerade party, inciting action. Power goes out. Seems like it's a useful trope. Someone screams, lights come back on, and someone is missing.
It goes for one of those old-timey balls, like 19th century balls, I guess, like those fancy mask, dancing waltz, and a lot of people mischief and just shenanigans in disguises. Okay, so basically location, the image, a ball party happening. Who is there? Who is important? My mind goes to Brazil, of course. This is my main wheelhouse. So Brazil, where there's a ball, Brazil, Imperial Ball, could be Imperial Ball, could be Imperial Ball. Who's in the Imperial Ball? Don Peter II, like being Emperor there. He's there. Why he's there? What's the danger? Who is this guy? Someone must be in disguise. It's a masquerade, it's a mystery ball, so it must be a disguise. So why these guys there? Try to Brazilian Emperor, try to steal something.
We have a big event, maybe a carnival coming up. And you know what? Let's put it in a nice place like Venice. What we're going to try to find is what that monster wants. Why does he need people's face? What could be a connecting idea? Let's go with all these people are actually musicians. The monster wants to be. I mean, I play the violin, so I'm going to say the bass violinist. So the players find that, then they can investigate all musicians, and we have a big finale.
Skipping ahead to Act 2, and we'll come back to what happens as far as the investigation deals. A triggering event that symbolizes the progression from Act 1 to Act. Characters are now in a 19th century mansion. Creepy investigation shows some struggle, bit of a twist in here. Vampire cultist hosting the party to lure in victims. So whenever the characters find that, that's what they'll skip to Act 2. Vampires throwing party because they're vampires and they can. Werewolves showing up to spoil the party sounds like something werewolves would do. They just do it because they can.
Where is the ball? The ball gonna be happening in the main palace on Rio. Anything important there? Could be a basement with some important stuff, some secrets, some imperial secrets, some supernatural secrets, ancient relics. Possible idea: fake emperor. The emperor itself is fake. Someone disguised as the emperor. No, they don't know it yet. They don't know some royalty is in disguise. Their idea has been replaced by a third or something. Revenge. Revenge is good. Could be revenge to royalty. Is it justified? Why is it revenge? Heroes start knowing someone gonna be killed and someone there is the killer. Heroes can choose to decide to join or to fight it.
At a concert hall where the players need to find which violinist is real and which one is the monsters. The clues could be that, of course, they find some bodies without faces. So now, if you want to design a nice monster, it's good to have a story hook. That here we have something quite simplistic that can work from a short session, which is good.
I mean, cultists like being vampire cultists for some reason. They don't want the characters to spoil that. That would be rude. It's an elaborate scheme for the vampire to kidnap a local legend in the surfing community to take over this small beach town by ruling the surf, the pastime that everybody seems to enjoy. Apparently, because in this area, the night surfing is killer.
Basically, the heroes they get the mission. Someone is informing them there's someone in this bowl that's gonna happen, and they want to kill someone there. They don't know who is the murderer, nor who is the person who is gonna be murdered. All they know is that the creature is there, is a shapeshifter of some kind, and they're gonna kill someone that's important.
What we need is to have some nice abilities that this monster has that can make for a great encounter when they finally face, pun intended, the monster. So he's kind of undead. He's probably like an ancient who lived in the shadows of the greats and who probably never was recognized as one of the greats. Sometimes violinists, when they do something very flashy, we say that it's a kind of pyrotechnic. You know what? Let's put that literal pyrotechnics creates fire with its layer. Yeah, that's going to be fun. And at the end, we have this giant scene where Venice is on water with a big fire, and we have a smoke on the water reference.
Act 2 is they are in a creepy mansion, and this one will be the stereotypical Gothic castle, lots of candles, light all over the walls. The vampire in the cult is throwing a party. We can put in a clue there to who this vampire might be because the characters can see this 19th century vampire who looks an awfully lot like somebody that was at the party. Back modern time, they got to find out who the lead vampire is by killing that lead vampire. In theory, they will stop whatever hold he has over the cultist and work the plans, and then they can go and party and celebrate. The cultists will at this point be aware of the characters are up to something, and they'll be more actively interacting with the characters. Both the cultists or the characters could try to recruit each other over. Cultists might build some information that they maybe weren't supposed to give about where this vampire is in this mansion or where the missing surfer is.
Go and research, discover what's happening, what they can discover about the creature, what they can discover about the ball, learn who are the NPCs that are going to be in the ball that it can be interesting to talk. There's also need to have like a list of different people that are going to be there that the players can talk to and try to investigate and gain information. They know they cannot disturb the ball. They cannot disturb the piece. Don't cause chaos, which from my experience is the hardest part.
You want the players to find the real identity of that monster, right? So maybe here we can put clues to the monster identity. And what we are going to do is that the has swapped some of the score their own, because the violinists of that time used to play their own music. They can have a small sequence where they find different scores and they need to reassemble it and maybe visit an old scholar.
We're taking a typical Hammer horror style vampire is king of the castle. We are taking it and twisting it so that it's not some gothic castle. This is a beach mansion that he's got these people gathered at. So we can go back and buff these things up once we get a layout.
The second scene is getting through the invasion. How they're gonna get inside the ball? Will they sleep inside? Will they jump a window? Will they disguise themselves as some other nobleman? What they're gonna do? That's more or less up to them. Give a few hooks here and there that can make it easy for them if necessary, but see what they want to and just give the information in the book that there's watching what's happening there, so there can be consequences if they just try to break around, so they know there are big powers there, don't mess it up.
And if they don't visit the scholar fast enough, maybe it's already dead. Or maybe they can just ignore it and kill the monster at the end. I mean, whatever. Maybe there's a curse that needs to be lifted. Then you can go into side quests, let's say, find a way to distribute that monster's music to the world. So maybe they need to find some recording station. Then they can really go to another direction if the player wants to, and travel with a undead monster who needs to tear people's faces. Let's try to find a name for that monster. The unknown. So linguists.
Eventually, they follow clues, lead to the guy in the mansion. There are alarms that are hidden that they have to uncover in order to free him without alerting a whole bunch of cultists and a vampire who is mad that they're stealing their dude. The vampire was looking forward to that dude. You'd be disappointed if that didn't happen.
Making sure that one side is particularly focused on the watcher because he's gonna be a betrayer. Give the story, pull some heartstrings here and there with a particularly suffering person or a particularly romantic couple or something like that to get them hooked. And then they need to discover who is the shapeshifter, what's going on, who is gonna be killed. The main guys, however, the betrayer style, which they saw at the entrance of the ball or something like that, that's gonna both save the assassin if they end up capturing him or gonna give this goal of killing the person. Now they have captured the assassin can have a chance of saying why they are doing that, and then they're gonna talk to the scion to know why he's doing that. He's gonna have a justified reason, and either way, this scion cannot be convinced otherwise, and then maybe there's a fight. Like this ends up very open-ended.
The vampire will initially attempt to seduce the characters over, join the cult, big monologue, fight, leave, or join, whatever they choose to do. It affects what the party is going to look like after. It's a celebration of killing the vampire. Is it a welcome party for joining a cult? Or did they just get out of town and they don't know what happens at the party and they're at the bar down the road just being like, that was fucked up, we shouldn't do that? Who knows?
To this specific product, I need to organize a long list of NPCs, of like player characters for the heroes to meet, both the royalty in the ball, regular workers in the ball, science watchings, an ancient story, maybe some relics there. It's gonna be in the palace, so maybe there's some hidden secrets, hidden places that they can find just for fun. So there's some good reasoning for exploration and so on. And there's always the character playing who wants to check every single room in the place to see if they can find something worth selling. So they need to be given a good reason to explore. So I think that's an interesting setting. That's something I can also look up. Maybe I can find some blueprints of the Brazilian palace at the time. So make something historical and it's nice. Can also put some politics and history at the time. Can have visitors of all around the world. Yeah, that could be fun.
And now it is time for judgment. Each designer's concept was so unique. It was cool to see how their individual inspirations showed through. Like Elaine with the unknown violinist. The way that he injected his own background into the villain's motivation means that the villain will at least be a little relatable. So the question is, who will the characters side with? And with Zach's, my favorite thing about his encounter was the completely unexpected setting. A beachfront, wanting to be the best surfer because the night waves are killer. Amazing. And by having a little bit of time traveling thrown into Act 2, you can easily provide a change of pace and a change of scenery for characters who might be losing the plot a little bit. A+ for that idea. With Ivan, it was cool to see his design process and the rapid-fire questions he asked himself to get from point A to point B. There were also a lot of supernatural elements because it was based in the world of Scion. It'll be interesting to see how players will handle solving the problem while not making a mess of things.
Course. The first part of the process is always to write some notes about what is going to be in each section. So that's a good starting point. And now the work will be to elaborate on that.
Not all of them happen that way. For example, when I did They Came to Get You, Barbara, I literally just sat down and watched Night of the Living Dead on repeat and just was writing. That October, I probably watched that movie easily 100 times because that was pretty much all I watched for that month while I was writing that.
I didn't come expecting anything. I was nervous, and now I mean the adrenaline has kind of worn on a little bit, but it gave me this kind of adrenaline rush. It was really because you start from an idea and then you elaborate on it. It's like you and yourself, which is very fun. No, I kind of excited to play that actually. It's continue working on that when the call ends.
I would say that it's particularly interesting, it's particularly fun because I'm both going to be pulling out a moral decision of the characters. They're going to have everything that they need to do. They're going to have some investigation. They're going to have some social pairing, social stuff. They're going to have some combat as well. There's a more thinking focus. So I think there's always fun. It's good to have some adventure which the super strong guy can solve everything by punching it. So I think it's going to be cool because it's an interesting setting. It's a different time that's very rarely you see in the usual media. So there's a plentiful of possibilities here.
I like that it's a story that can end in different ways depending on the player's choice. If they are expecting a game of, well, we are here to find a monster and kill a monster, yes, go for it. But if you want to have a more nuanced game and maybe be more sympathetic and present a monster that is like your tortured artist's trope, well, you can also go that way. And for me, it's very important because as a player, I know that it's what I value in a game is I want to be able to choose which path the game takes.
I came into TTRPGs through Vampire the Masquerade, so writing a vampire story at a masquerade party that has nothing to do with that and just kind of playing with it, going the completely opposite direction that you would see of that game, of what you would expect from a story. That was fun for me. I like campy comedy and with a twist of horror in it, and I think this is good bones to flesh out, and you may see this StoryPath Nexus. And
wait, there's a winner? Oh, because I'm going to compile a playlist for that piece, and it's going to be awesome.
I mean, I didn't see the other projects to compare exactly, but I think I have a good shot.
People like sexy vampires, and my story has sexy vampires.
Of course, there can only be one Design Dash winner, and StoryPath Nexus's Design Dash Superstar is decided by you! That's right, please head over to our socials and vote in the poll and tell us which one of these adventures was your favorite. Link in the cards and in the description. And if you have ever wanted to get into the tabletop role-playing game industry as a writer or designer, community content programs on DriveThruRPG are a great way to get started. Community content programs allow you to use the IP of your favorite games like Dungeons & Dragons and the DM's Guild, or Pathfinder 2E and Pathfinder Infinite. If you're just starting out as a writer, it's a great way to get started because there's a huge community of like-minded individuals creating content on these programs and tons of support. We have templates, images that you can use from these games, and more. Please check out the link below if you are interested.
I'm not on Twitter anymore. So the best place to find me is on the Onyx Pass Discord server. If you pop anything in either the cartons or the different channels for the community content programs that they have, all my stuff is on DriveThruRPG. Most of it is on the Slash and Vault, but there is also a little bit on Cadence Minor and of course StoryPath Nexus. You just need to search my name.
I'm at zachrules.com. I'm also at zachrules.com on the BS site. If the Dead Bird site is still alive by the time this airs, I'm at Zach Rules, and I'm at Zach Rules at the Ancient Elephant site, zachrules.at.dice.camp. If you need to find me, say hi.
Everybody can find me as ManBat in the Scion Discord or in the Scion Forum. You can also find me there. Otherwise, as my ongoing projects, I still am going to finish my Vini Vidi Vici Roman mythology, Roman setting thing. That should be the, hopefully, final book.
Thank you all for watching this Design Dash episode, and we will see you next time. Bye!